Hi there, Steve Kaufman here. As you can see, I had a haircut. I guess you can call it a haircut. I was between appointments, so I decided to go into a barber I didn't know, and then I thought I would get my hair cut short and spike it just for fun, and so this lady went at it. I just don't know where, she cut it all over the place, and I don't like spiking it so it's short, but the advantage of short hair is that it eventually gets longer. Today I'm going to talk about what I consider to be the most important ingredient for successful language learning. And I think I'm qualified to talk about that because I didn't get this close enough. I think that I'm quite a successful language learner. I'm not a good golfer. My wife makes fun of me when I try to cook in the kitchen. And there's lots of things that I don't do well, but if there's one thing that I do well, it's learn languages. And I've also watched a lot of other people learn languages. And you often hear people say, oh, you have a talent for languages. I don't have a talent for languages. So-and-so has a talent for languages. I'm sure to some extent some people are better at language learning than others, but I don't think the differences are that great. And I don't think that's the main reason why some people are successful and others are not. Otherwise, why are people in some countries successful language learners? Everyone speaks 2 or 3 languages in Sweden, Holland, Singapore, Ethiopia, to name a few, or at different points in history. I mean, all the Russian aristocracy and the German aristocracy in the 19th century spoke excellent French. That was just a given that people did that. I mean, I was listening to a story about some Polish queen in the 14th century who spoke Hungarian, Polish, French, and God knows what, Latin. I mean, where it's considered normal, people just do it. So I don't think there's such tremendous differences in basic talent level. The differences are attitude, and we've often talked about motivation, of course. You have to be motivated. But I think another big thing is what I call the willingness to accept uncertainty. I am quite happy listening to something that I don't understand and listening to it over and over again and always having the same parts of it that I don't understand. Now I like to listen and then read and then look up the words so I have a chance to understand it. When I go back to listen again, I still don't understand certain parts. Certain parts just take longer to learn. But I have always preferred to read and to listen to things that were authentic, real language, even if I didn't understand. But I watch all kinds of learners who have a totally different approach. They want slow language. They want it to be, everything has to be explained. They want to nail down the pronunciation right at the beginning. I was listening to this ESL podcast, which is very popular, far more popular than we are. And they do a great job. But I would never listen to that if I were learning, if the equivalent podcasts were available in Russian or Portuguese or one of the languages that I'm learning. I don't want to hear people saying, well, that is a nice building. I wonder how they built the building. I don't want that. And so I very quickly in my Russian studies went to audiobooks, went to Echo Moskvi, went to places where I was struggling. I can remember in my Chinese studies, I had this one audiobook version, A History of the Second World War. I must have listened to that about 15 times, not to mention my Xiangchan. And especially where there's rhythm in the way things are said. I mean, and I don't understand it, but I think that when we learn languages, we have to connect with the language at a level of the sort of the music, the rhythm, the feel of the language. That's what we have to establish. And trying to nail down little bits of grammar or nail down how something is pronounced, the L and the R if you're Japanese, or tones if you're trying to learn Chinese, or the Spanish R, Ruiz, whatever. These things will come and you'll have an easier time of it later on. In the meantime, just let it go. Learn to live with uncertainty, vagueness, imperfection, and learn to enjoy it. And I think that all successful language learners have that in common, that they don't mind. They don't mind the imperfection. And the people who try to pursue imperfection and get frustrated because they can't do it and they can't remember and they can't pronounce and they get all kinds of negatives built up, Those are the unsuccessful language learners. So, a short one today. I was just thinking of it as I was. I don't know how I got to ESL podcast. It was mentioned somewhere, and I went there to listen to it, and they're tremendously successful. And I am sure that the vast majority of English learners far prefer ESL podcast to anything that we do. Yet, when I listen to natural podcasts, and of course all we offer is the podcast, natural language, and then say come to link and look up the words you need. Like, again, I don't want lots of explanations. ESL podcast offers you grammar notes and explanations and exercises and vocabulary. I don't want any of that. I'll find my own vocabulary and I'll just listen to it and gradually absorb it. I'm the exception. Most people don't agree with me. But on the other hand, I am better than the average in language learning. So maybe it's not just me. Anyway, I look forward to your comments. Bye for now.